Hi everybody, welcome back to day 12 of Junk Journal January. Today is overlap, and when I heard overlap, my mind instantly went to something I've been wanting to do. I've only done a few of, but something I've been wanting to do, which is create sampler cards, because to me, that is stuff that is overlapping. So that is what I'm going to do today. I don't know if these are going to be quite big enough. So they do have, there's a lot of digitals. Actually, I'm going to use my cutter for this so this goes straight. There's a lot of digitals out there. I can't think of who makes them right now. I think Oglesina has one that I actually got. There's a lot of digitals that have sampler cards that you can get. I'm gonna just create my own right now and then embellish them, because I want to make, especially for Junk Journal January, because I feel like a lot of new people maybe hear about junk journaling during this time. So I thought I would just make it from scratch. So what I'm doing is I'm creating the flap. If you're not sure what a sampler card is, it's where they have cards and there's samples of fabric on them, or it could be papers, it could be anything, and then they're tucked into this top corner or top flap that then overlaps the fabric, and then you hold it together. So I have pulled out some different fabrics. This is a sheet, and I don't know why I cut that all the way down, because that is not what I want. I want a torn edge, always a torn edge on the material that will tear. Is this one not going to tear? Go a little bit bigger. There we go. This is from an old bed sheet, and I save all my little strands. That has been hand dyed, and I'm pretty sure with this I used Jamaica, which is a flower that you can get in Mexican stores and other stores. They sell it in tea, but it's cheapest if you have a Mexican store around. It's what we make agua fresca, which is just a fresh water, what I guess would be the literal translation. But making it from Jamaica leaves or flowers, which is also called hibiscus. So it's the hibiscus flower, Jamaica in Spanish. So that's what I think I used for this, and that's why it's got like a really pretty bright pink to it. So see, we just layered different fabrics, and then we can embellish here. So I have just pulled some different ones here. So this came off a dress, I think. And so there's two different trims on it, and I want to use both of them. Let me just cut it. Lace is, sometimes I like the lace really ratty and torn, and other times not as much. Okay, so then that'll go on there. But yeah, I think these are a really fun thing to add to the journals. It adds texture, and then if your journals are flying away from you, as Kate in the Nest says, If they're going to someone else, they can be used, they can then use the material in that journal to make things or in another journal. Okay, so here is one of my vintage handkerchiefs. Am I brave enough? I am brave enough. I'm going to do it. I am going to do it because there is no point in hoarding stuff. I'm not going to tear it. I'm going to cut it out. Oh, that is so pretty. I'm so proud of myself right now for getting into it. And then let's go with this. This is a vintage handkerchief. Well, it's not as vintage. It's newer. And I coffee dyed this one. So I'm just ripping off the binding edge of this one. So, how is everyone doing? Thank you for your prayers and prayers for California as we go through this rough time. I am safe. My power is back on. And I just appreciate everyone's well wishes and prayers that have been sent out for me and for everyone here. So I hope you're all doing well. It's a Saturday when I'm filming this. So I hope that you guys are able to have some creative time too. Okay, so there's another one. Let's see. Here's another vintage handkerchief. And I want to like hoard these things and not cut them up. But the reality is I'm always going to use them and cut up things. Even in my slow stitching, they're going to be just pieces of it used. And that's how you can stretch it also and put it into other projects. So there's embroidery right there. So it won't, once it hits the embroidery, it kind of stops tearing. And I'm going to leave the other edge on. So what I might do is do two of them. Do one lace one and one fabric one. Let's not just cut that one. It'll kind of fray. Maybe. Oh, here's another one. Look at me. I'm being so brave right now and cutting these. I love it though because it adds so much. There's no point in hoarding it. Even though we all, oh, this is very, okay, that one needs to be cut. It's very fragile. Okay. Let's see here. I have the fabric. There's this one. So I have those 4 pieces in fabric. And then we put it on there like that. And then you have your little fabric sampler. And it's held in by overlapping the cardboard right on it. So let's see, what do I want to do to stick this down? stuff's getting knocked over as I try to grab. I think I want to do Brad's, but I'm going to add stuff to this, but let's see if I can get through this with my crocodile here. I'm going to turn it this way so I can see it better. Yeah, it went through. So I think I'm going to do, sorry for my head. Oh, I even actually got that pretty even. You know, I was thinking I was going to do the Brad's, but now that I have the holes punched, I think I'm going to sew it. So I have some embroidery thread or floss here. Let's see if I can, oh, get a strand out here. Okay, I think I got 2 strands, which is perfect. And I'm not going to be able to get that in without my little helper, because I've definitely been wanting to incorporate more stitching into my journals. Oh. So this is a way of doing it. I have my fabrics all over. So if you haven't watched my video for yesterday for magazine, I encourage you to do it. I'm so pleased with how my stuff turned out, and I did a new technique on the magazine that I think you guys should check out. I have not seen anyone do it. If they have, I apologize. It's unlikely that I came up with something new, but you never know. Okay, so I'm going to just come through here. And I'm just going to hold this on the back until I go through a couple times. So I'm going to just go through this, oops, multiple times. So some of you have heard my rooster in the background. He tends to like to be the star of the show. I'm so used to hearing him that I don't even really notice it that much anymore. His name is Henry. So some people are learning his name and they're saying hi to Henry in the comments. I told my husband, he's stealing the show. He's the star of the show now. In the last video, he was going and going and going, and I didn't notice it until I watched it back just to kind of, make sure everything was in frame and stuff. So, yeah, that's Henry. And we like Henry. He's a very beautiful rooster. Maybe one of these days I'll put a picture in. Okay, so I just did several rounds of that. But yeah, so when you hear him, now you know. I haven't heard him personally. I don't think he's talked in this video yet, but like I said, I'm so used to it that I don't always notice it. Okay, so then I'm gonna just trim that off. Okay, so that is basically could be done, but I want to do some embellishing on this a little bit, and then we'll do a lace one. So very simple, not difficult. I was thinking of doing a paper one or mixing them, and then I kind of changed my mind. So let's get some things to embellish. And I'm going to pause the video and go grab a couple of things real quick. Okay, I'm back. I only grabbed one thing, which is this old flower that I have. Not super old, but, and I don't know if I'm going to use this or not, because I thought what I might do, well, I know what I'm going to do, but let's see. Yeah, I am going to do that. But I'm going to also make a fabric rosette, which I'm sure most of you have seen how to do. But just in case you haven't, I will show you. Because I think this on this side and then a fabric rosette on the other side will be really pretty. And I'm going to just put a little pearl in the middle of this. My hot glue gun seems to be working. I just want to say thank you too for everyone who's been commenting on the videos. You guys seem to really enjoy the for trim video that I did with the paper ruffles. And I got a lot of positive feedback and people asking questions, and so I really love that. Okay, so to make a fabric ruffle, a fabric rosette, I again use hot glue. Let me get this a little bit started here. So you just need to get, I love the sound. Sorry, I love the sound of ripping fabric. I just absolutely love it. So we're gonna take, I'm gonna do a smaller one. So I'm gonna say that's about probably 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, 3/4 of an inch. And then I love all the delicious strings that I get, or the fabulous strings I get when I am ripping fabric, because I get to do things with those also. We might use that in this video. Let's see, maybe. So then you want to take the fabric, fold it over or fold it down, and then I kind of bring that fold up. And this is, when you're using a hot glue gun, you want to just try to really do the smallest amount to kind of start to hold that together. Let me move this out of the way here. And then you're going to just start twisting the fabric around and around. And once I go around a little bit, so now I have like the inside portion, then I'm going to do another little drop of the hot glue and press that down. And then you just kind of keep going. You want to watch and I kind of keep smashing it down so that it's flat. And then at this point, now that I have the little center going, I can put it on there. It takes a little bit of practice, because if you don't kind of keep working on smashing it down and laying it underneath, it will get really fat and it won't kind of sit flat on the page. Oh, that glue kind of went out a little bit. So I just twist and bring it under, twist, and then bring the fabric under. Well, you're trying to create layers, so you want to, bring it under and then smash it flat is what I can say. It's a hard thing to describe. The more you practice with it, my first ones were horrible. Were absolutely horrible. So the more that you practice, the better you will get at creating like the layers that look like the leaves and keeping it flat. Now sometimes might want it to be more dimensional and not be as flat. It just depends on your project. But when I'm doing it for my paper crafts or, you know, journals and stuff like that, I want it to be somewhat flat. And then you just, again, keep twisting. Oops, stuck to me. Twisting and gluing, and it's just a tiny little bit. You don't have to use a lot to get it to stay in place. And then when you glue it down, that was just like what was left over on there. When you glue it to the page, that's also going to help hold it together. But if you've not done the little fabric strip rosettes, I just think they're so pretty. And then you can keep going as long as you want. I mean, to make it as big as you want. Let's see, where are we at in size wise? Well, we're getting close. I'm gonna just go around a couple more times. And there's a lot of good videos out there that show how to do this, probably better than I am, because I don't know how to explain it different than you just than showing. And I think it's one of those things, the showing is the biggest part of it. And if you can see the back, how the back is just winding around itself and it's flat. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off. And you have to move it around to get it onto the edge there. And then put a little bit on the back to just hold that one down. And there you have a fabric rosette that I think is just going to be pretty on this. Actually, before I put that down, I think I want to maybe put a little bit of lace on here, and I do. So I'm just going to run the really thin hot glue, especially with lace, because you don't want a bunch of lace to be glue to be showing through. And then I'm going to overlap that on there. So you can still see the pink thread. It's not as prevalent, but that's okay. The layers, overlapping fabrics, overlapping papers in any form creates depth and dimension and movement. It's like in home decorating. You want to create movement. You want your eye to always be going through and having kind of something else to see. Like if you're creating, you know, decor on your wall or in your home, you always want something else to move you through the image, the paper, the piece. And that's what creates a nice balance and flow of things. So I would like that. It's pretty simple. And then you have all these little beautiful fabrics that you can look at. And then you can journal underneath here. And you can journal in the back. Because like always, I will be wanting to put this, not necessarily gluing this down to a page in my journal, but clipping it in or having a tuck spot. Which this is kind of, yeah, that's not going to fit there though, because it's kind of big. But like, even like here, where yesterday's thing, I can tuck that in. Actually, I can do it like this. This was from the magazine, the new technique I did in yesterday's video, and I just so love how it came out. So I can, oh, let me move this over a little bit more so it fits. I can just put that in there. So we have the page behind it that we can journal on. We can pull this out and journal on it. We have the like faux postcard or faux vintage photo that we can journal on. And when you just look at this page, there's so much to look at. We have the paper ruffles, we have this. Then when we pull this out, that's what I love journals to be. I want them to be an interactive experience. And so that just fits in like that. So let's go ahead and we'll do a lace sampler. So I have some of these cut out. This isn't quite lace, but it's so sheer that I'm gonna count it as lace. And it's so funny, I'm not really into a lot of the like the diamondy bling and shiny stuff, but this little tool with the little gold dots on it, I just really, really love it. It's so pretty to layer on so many things. Okay, so then let's get different. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video because I want to grab something real quick. Okay, so this is printed on cardstock. And what I'm gonna do, these are some digital tags that I created. And again, when I was creating, you can tell I just don't have the digital creative down right, but I still love the images. So what I want to do, probably be quicker and easier and straighter if I use my. So what I'm going to do is I want to cut 2 of these, and this is going to be a little bit narrower, but I'm going to cut 2 of these. I want to glue them together because you could still write on them, but it's pretty. So any pattern paper you have that's printed on cardstock or any pretty paper, you can use that as well. It doesn't have to be blank like the first one I did. I just wanted to show that as an example. Okay, and then, oh, that one is not even. Let me just even that out a little bit here. Okay. So, and I didn't print these double-sided, and this is a little bit thinner. I kind of got messed up. A little bit thinner cardstock anyways, so what I want to do is just glue these together. Like so. And they definitely don't have to be perfect. The edges, it's better. It is good if you can have the edges straight or even. It doesn't have to be perfect as far as the look of it, but the reason you want them even when you're doing gluing, if I could talk right, 2 pieces of paper together is if there's an edge. I don't know if you can see how that one, you can see the one behind it. That is going to make it easier for the pages to separate. So you just don't want there to be any kind of a lip. You want them to be even. So So then what I'm going to do, I probably could have done this one the other direction, but that's okay. So then I'm gonna just flip this over to create my flap. And when I did that, it created that little lip there. So I'm gonna trim that off. Because again, that will give it more of an opportunity to separate. And you can wait for your glue to dry. I did not. And then I did a narrower piece, so I need to trim these down some. But let's see, I have the edge on that, so I want to keep that. Oh, whoops. So now I have these pieces. And then they're just gonna go in and we'll overlap that over like that. Okay, so I just found my stapler. So to show you, if you don't have like a crop dial or a hole punch that can punch through things, excuse me, then you can just do a couple of staples. And see, that to me is really pretty by itself because it has the colors on it. But I want to, and I don't necessarily mind the staplers, but I'm gonna go ahead and cover those with a little bit of trim. Actually, oh, I think that'll be pretty. Let's do my ruffle. So we're gonna go with a little hot glue there. And I'm not going all the way up to the top with this because I do want some of that paper to show still. But if you're going to staple something and you don't want the staples to show, this is just a great way is to make the ruffles. And you can do it with the paper ruffles like I did the other day. That would look really pretty also. Oops. And then just trim it off on the edge. And then on the back, if you're worried about getting your fingers caught on that, what I think is also really pretty is to just do a strip of the fabric on the back, and then that way it also doesn't create a bunching on the back, so it lays flatter on the page. And you can just cover it like that. And then it just gives your fingers a little protection. And I think it looks really, really pretty also. And that is simple. And I was thinking about showing you guys how to use some of your threads. It might be a little bit too much, because I think it's just really, really pretty if you kind of, put it in like a little circle, almost like a little flower. Oops. So let's put some of that. Spread the hot glue around so that it catches a bunch of those strings, and it will catch enough. And then let's take a pearl. And then you can even kind of come in on top and just do little bits of hot glue and then push it down, and then it holds in the strands better. And then we'll just do a little dollop of hot glue for the pearl. And just kind of bury that in there. And you can kind of trim off. And look at how sweet that is. I think it's beautiful. To me, it looks like a little flower, and it's with your leftover strips, you know, strings, and it adds texture and dimension. So again, your eye has movement and it has places to look and go through. And then there is that one. And then what's nice about that is then, especially with it being the lace one, you can, as you flip each layer that's overlapping each other, you start to see the image that's there. And I think it's really pretty. So there we go. That is day 11. No, day 12. I can't remember. I said it at the beginning of the video, correct. Overlap. And so this could go really pretty. Look how pretty that looks underneath that one. And it's, you've got all this texture and dimension. I love it. And then it's adding, and then you have a pretty sticking over the top also. So yeah, I like that there. And our journal is getting so chunky. There's that one. And then that one tucked in. Or they can be tucked on their own page too. So like if I get another paper clip, which this is not a rested one, but just for the sake of being quick here. And you have to, on this style, on the accordion style journal, you have to go to the top or bottom. You can't do the side because then the pages won't open. So yeah, let's just leave that one there. And then just to show you, I want to show you can put things on, put these underneath, but then you can also, like I said, I got to rust some more paper clips, but you can clip it there. And then you still have all the journaling space underneath. And then it also creates hidden journaling space by doing that. I'll have to show you guys some other tuck spots, excuse me, that I do where these things will tuck in so you're not necessarily paper clipping everything. But I don't want to do that in today's video because it'll take up too much time. So I like them. I hope you enjoy today's video. I hope you're all doing well. And I think that's going to be the end. I'll just leave that open to there. So today, my prayer for all of you is that your heart is full of love and gratitude. I pray that you can find something in your life today that makes your heart leap for joy, that puts a smile on your face and just warms your heart. I pray that you are healthy, and if you're not healthy right now, that you be healthy soon, and that you know that even in times of distress, that is when God is calling us closer to Him. And we can lean on Him for His strength when our strength is not enough. And that is my prayer for all of you today. Until next time, love always, Savannah.